morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing okay on this Monday morning. We're back with a massive show to bring you guys today. But before we jump into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. If this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. Right, the main topic of focus today is going to be the topic, is this the end for Erik Ten Hag? Obviously, we will be reacting to Manchester United's loss to West Ham yesterday. And as always, I want to make this show interactive. I want to hear from you, the Manchester United fans, on this topic. I want you to get in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts. Give me as much substance as possible. Should Manchester United sack Erik Ten Hag as the manager? Also, if they do, I want to know who the new manager is going to be. I want, give me something to read. Please do it. Go and get in the comment section now and let me know your thoughts on the whole situation. Right, let's first of all react to yesterday's game against West Ham. I mean, at this point, I do just feel like we're cursed. How did we not win that game yesterday? Okay? The amount of chances we had in that first half. Diogo Dalot, that has to honestly go down as one of the worst misses in Premier League history. Open goal and he skies it over the top of the bar. Garnacho hits the bar. Højlund misses an easy opportunity. Like, we should have been 4, 5, 6-0 up in that first half, and that's not even being, silly. I looked at the XG in the after that first half. It was like 2 to Manchester United, and West Ham's was like 0.04. They had no opportunities at all, and we still couldn't win that game. The penalty, obviously, that was incredibly dodgy, but I'm not going to blame the penalty. Like, that's just... Even if they didn't get the penalty, we still wouldn't have won that game. We had to win that game yesterday. I said that on my show a couple of days ago. So if you look at the chances yesterday, we had 60% possession. We had 18 shots to their 10. We had an XG of 3. West Ham only had 1. Like, yeah, I just don't know. I've got to the point now, right, where I know how everything works with football. You can't sack the players. That's not how football works. They're all on 5-6 year contracts. They're all on massive amounts of money. So the easiest way to try and get a change is to sack the manager, realistically, right? We all know that. Whether you want the manager to be sacked or not, this is just a fact. You can't sack the players. You can't just say, I'm going to sack all of the players mid-season because you'd have no players. That just doesn't make sense. So the only option is to sack the manager, right? Will it make any difference? I don't know, to be honest. I honestly don't. And I've said this for a very, very long time. And this isn't me backing Erik Ten Hag, right? I've said this for so long. I just look at the situation. I look at the last decade. I look at the team we have, the mentality we have. And I was talking to my friend yesterday. I was talking to a couple of friends yesterday, actually. And we were saying, is there any players in this Manchester United squad that played yesterday that you actually like? Have a long, hard think about it. That you actually really like, and you're like, oh, they're world class. I love them. If you go from the back to the front, Onana, I think he's done well this season, so I'm not going to criticise him. But Onana, okay, I'm not a massive fan, but he's done well. Dalot, I think, is one of the most overrated players in the Manchester United team. People seem to think he's amazing, but I just think he's average, really average. Martinez, I think in his first season was absolutely incredible, but I think he's dropped off massively. Matthias de Ligt, I think, is decent, but I wouldn't say I love him at this point, just because he's only been here for a little while. Mazraoui's decent, but again, I don't think I love him. Casemiro, I think's past it. Eriksen, I think, is a good player, but again, I don't have that much of an attachment to him. Rashford, I used to like a long time ago, when he first burst onto the scene, and you could tell that he loved the club and all the rest of it, but that love's kind of gone for me. Bruno Fernandes, again, he can't put together a ball, 5-yard ball. I think he's pretty average now. Garnacho, I think, is a good player, but again, do you know what I mean? When you actually break it down and you go through this squad that you have, it's just a bit sad, to be honest, because I remember, the old times where you'd look through the squad and every single one of those players were warriors. You loved all of them. But with this squad, I just look at them. I'm like, oh, yeah. But let's talk about Erik Ten Hag, though. Obviously, I want people to get in the comment section. I will read out some of your comments and stuff. So let's see what people are saying this morning. There is a poll going on the live chat. So if you're watching the video live, you can get involved in that. So far, 78% of people watching the video want Erik Ten Hag to be sacked. 22% think he should stay. Ruben says, Kieran, do you think if Erik Ten Hag gets sacked, that Ruud van Nistelrooy will be our interim? I'm honestly so against Ruud van Nistelrooy being the interim. So against it. Because all you have to do is just, like, look at the situation, right? Manchester United have brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy as the assistant manager who was a striker, right? Would we all agree that he was a striker? And since he's come in, our strikers they literally can't score an open goal. So I'm not saying that that's the only reason not to employ him. I just think that, if you're going to give Erik Ten Hag this massive payoff, then just completely clean shop, get rid of all of them. I saw yesterday there was quite a lot of hysteria on social media because I don't know if anybody saw this, but Javi's wife put up a story on her Instagram of them having like a family day, doing puzzles and stuff. And Javi's son's wearing a Manchester United shirt. And obviously that sent social media into absolute meltdown. I'll be completely honest with you right now. I think they're not going to sack him because they don't want to pay him the money that they'd have to pay him to sack him, to be honest. I still feel like that Jim Ratcliffe has bought Manchester United as a vanity project. I said this in the summer before they took over. Sorry, last summer. I still just feel like Jim Ratcliffe has bought Man United as a vanity project. I don't know how you feel about that statement, but people used to criticise the Glazers. People seem to have forgotten about them now. But the Glazers, if there was a run of bad form, they would just sack the manager. They didn't care whether they'd have to pay out 20 million, 30 million, whatever. They'd just get rid of the manager. Whether that's right or wrong is up for debate. But the point I'm making here is, you look at our last 10 games, right? I think if you look at our last 10 games, we've won one game in like 10 matches. I'm pretty sure if that was at Liverpool, that the manager would be sacked. If that was at Man City, imagine if Man City won one game in 10 matches, or even Arsenal won one game in 10 matches, the manager would be sacked 100%. So I know that they're trying to do things differently and all the rest of it. That's what Ineos tell us. But I can't see any logical reason at this point why they're saying, oh, let's hold on, let's see if he can turn it round. I mean, turn what round? What's there to turn round? We're 14th in the Premier League. Like, we've got 11 points from 9 games. That's literally like relegation form. At the moment, we are 7 points off top 4. I would say that top 4 is effectively gone now. I know that if you finish 5th this season, you might get Champions League. So we're 6 points off the 5th place. We're 14th. We're closer to the relegation than we are to top 4 at the moment, genuinely. And I saw a stat yesterday that if we lose to Chelsea, and I think Leicester and Everton have got favourable games apparently this weekend coming, we could be 16th place after this weekend if we were to lose to Chelsea and Leicester and Everton both win their games. We could be 16th. I mean, just after 10 games, we could be 16th. That's absolutely mad. What would I do at this moment? I don't know. How does Erik Ten Hag get these players to score? How does he stop Diogo Dalot missing an open goal? I just don't know. I just feel a little bit like, what's the word? Helpless? Is that the right word? Maybe they're not playing for him anymore? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. People give me some comments. Let me know your thoughts. Like, what's going wrong at Manchester United? We're creating opportunities. We created 5 or 6 clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities yesterday against West Ham, and they can't score. Like, why? Captain Jack says, what about Simeone Inzaghi for the Manchester United manager? I mean, I would take him at this point. I would. If someone told me you could get Inzaghi tomorrow, I would take him. Yeah, I probably would. Ant says apparently there was a performance clause inverted into his renewal contract. What do you mean? Let me know. I'm not sure what you mean there, mate. Let me know. Someone's saying that they're scared for the Chelsea game. Yeah. Al says, can the club even afford the £17 million to sack Erik Ten Hag? Apparently not. Apparently not. Definitely not. I don't reckon. I mean, if you look at the Manchester United's financials, right, we're in an absolute mess. Absolute mess financially. And it's not just 17 million, because you've got to pay Erik Ten Hag, you've got to pay Rene Haak, you've got to pay Ruud van Nistelrooy if he leaves, and you've got to pay all of Erik Ten Hag's other staff to go. Say Inzaghi comes in, say Javi comes in, he's not going to want Rene Haak as his assistant manager. So not only are you going to have to pay Erik is 17, I mean, how much is Rene Haak on? Let's have a look. I worked out the other day, my calculation was that it would probably be somewhere around 30 million, I reckon. Remember we paid a compensation fee as well to what are they called? Club Go Ahead Eagles when we took Rene Hag. So, you know, we invested a lot of money is the point I'm making here in the summer in Erik Ten Hag's new setup, you know, the assistant manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, etc., etc. Let me see. I mean, even here, I can see on this one. So this is the goalkeeping coach we signed in the summer, right? From Ajax to Manchester United. Erik Ten Hag's goalkeeping coach has apparently tripled his wages. His name is Jel Ten Ruwala. He came from Ajax to Manchester United. Like, people seem to forget this, that in the summer, it wasn't just Ruud van Nistelrooy and Rene Hag. They brought in a new set-piece coach. They brought in a new goalkeeping coach. They're all Dutch. They're all Erik Ten Hag's people, every single one of them. And if a Javi comes in or an Inzaghi comes in or whoever it is that you want comes in, all of those people are probably going to leave and get sacked, right? Because Javi isn't going to join Manchester United and say, I want all of Erik Ten Hag's staff. That's not how football works. They completely clean shop and start again. So if it's 17 million for Erik Ten Hag on his own, I reckon it'll be at least 10, 15 million for all of his other staff combined, you know, for Ruud van Nistelrooy, the set-piece coach, the goalkeeper coach, all of his other assistants, all the rest of it, you know? So it's a crazy amount of money. And I honestly think that that's why they haven't sacked him, because Ineos are looking at the situation and being like, we don't want to pay 30 million to get rid of the manager. We'll just keep him. And that's why it just comes back to me that I just feel like Manchester United for Jim Ratcliffe is just a vanity project. I think we all said that in the summer, didn't we? We said that when we found out that Jim Ratcliffe wanted to buy Manchester United and that he was in that pub. Do you remember? Do you guys remember this, right? 2 years ago, Jim Ratcliffe was in a pub and he got asked about his bid for Manchester United. And he said, his exact words were something along the lines of this. He said that he's made all his money and he wants to have a bit of fun now by buying a football club. That's what the current footballing owner of Manchester United said about his proposed bid, that he'd earned lots of money in his career through selling energy and all of the other things that Ineos do, right? And chemicals. We've made all this money. I want to now have a bit of fun with this money. And what he thought as fun was buying Manchester United. Like, that just kind of sums it up for me. So all of these people who are like screaming, sack the manager, all of the rest of it, like, I don't think it's going to happen. You know, I honestly feel like we're helpless because I don't think Ineos are going to pull the money out to do it, because it is, as I said, £30 million plus to do it. And then even if you just focus on that bit, right? You've cleaned out the shop. Erik Ten Hag's gone. Rene Hag's gone. His set-piece coach is gone. All of those other people have gone. 30 million down the drain, right? Once you've done that, then you've got to then go and pay Javi, all of his team, all of those people. They'll probably want signing on bonuses. Like, if you actually really, really thought about it, okay, it could be anywhere from 30 to 50 million, I reckon, to sack the manager and bring in a new one. And then if you want to go even further into the argument, what happens if Javi comes in and he says, Ugarte doesn't suit my system, Mazraoui doesn't, De Ligt doesn't, Højlund doesn't, and then effectively the £600 million that Manchester United have spent on Erik Ten Hag's players could potentially just be gone out the window, and then they might have to go and invest that amount again in a new manager. And I think that's why they're not doing it. Now, whether that's right or wrong is debatable. You know, it's 50-50. But the fact of the matter is, Manchester United can't be sat 14th in the Premier League. We already are a laughingstock, right? And we thought that Ineos coming in would change that, would change how the public perceived us, would change how other clubs, other football fans would look at and view Manchester United. But they look at Manchester United now, and I would argue that we're in a worse position than we were under the Glazers, to be honest. Well, we are. When was the last time we were 14th place under the Glazers? Let me know. It's never happened. It never has happened in Premier League history. Now, am I saying that the Glazers are amazing and that we should have gone back to them? Obviously not. I'm not saying that. I'm just pointing out that the Glazers wouldn't let Manchester United fall to this point. But if you want to present a fair argument, the money that the Glazers would have used to sack managers in the past would have been debt that they'd have borrowed and leveraged against the club. And Ineos aren't willing to do that. So to really, really simplify it, right, just for all of those people who are like screaming, sack the manager, why are they not sacking the manager? They don't know what they're doing. The Glazers would sack managers using money that they'd borrow from a bank that would then be leveraged against the club. So the club would then pay off that money over a 10-year period, say, right? So say it costs 20 million to sack Jose Mourinho. The Glazers would go to their bank and say, we need to borrow 20 million. The bank would say, yes, no problem. The interest rate's going to be 10%. They'd borrow the money and they'd use that money to sack the manager. And Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos obviously pledged to not put more debt on the club. So effectively, if they want to sack Erik Ten Hag, Jim Ratcliffe's going to have to pull 30 million plus out of Ineos's money, out of his money, wherever it's going to come from. But the point of the matter is that money wouldn't be borrowed. It would be money that he would have to invest himself. So he would literally, imagine that, right? Imagine that. You're an owner of a club and you wake up and you have to then send £30 million, say, to the club to sack the manager. And I reckon it's just that. Jim Ratcliffe is someone who's come from nothing. He's now a billionaire. He's probably looking at the situation thinking, I don't want to give Erik Ten Hag 17 million. I don't want to pay off all of his staff. Let's just roll the dice. Let's see what happens. Let's give him till the end of... Because how much worse can it really get? We're closer to the relegation than we are to the top four. So, I don't know. I don't know whether... there's people who just focus on this whole obsession whether it's time to go, sack him and all the rest of it. And it's like, they're clearly not going to sack him, are they? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in an hour's time, we'll get an official statement and they'll sack him. I just don't know. I honestly just think that they only care about money, Ineos. I think that it's a vanity project for them. And I think that any competent football club at this point would have sacked the manager. They would have. If this was Barcelona, if this was Real Madrid, if this was Bayern Munich and they were sat 14th in their league, they'd be sacked that evening. They would. Would we all agree? Now, just to be fair, right, in my opinion, I'm not sure it's going to make much of a difference because bringing in a new manager isn't going to make Diogo Dalot not miss an open goal. It's not going to make Garnacho stop missing big chances every single game, I don't think. But at this point, I think you have to roll the dice, It can't go on like this anymore, really. But in all fairness, just to be very fair, I don't think we actually played badly yesterday. I think we were very unlucky, but we still lost the game, and that's all that matters. Whether you're unlucky, whether it's a dodgy penalty and all the rest of it, it's kind of irrelevant. I'm done with the excuses. I'm done with the, it shouldn't have been a penalty, or this or all that. The fact of the matter is, we had 5 or 6 big opportunities to score in that first half, and we didn't score a single goal. It was 0-0 at halftime, and we should have been 4, 5, 6-0 up. There's no excuses for that. There's no excuses. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you guys all think. Mainu for Golden Boy says, did you see Javi's son post an image of himself on Instagram? Yeah, I did. So for anybody who missed that, Javi's wife put up a photo last night of them having like a family afternoon playing games and stuff, and Javi's son's wearing a Manchester United shirt. So that obviously has sent social media into meltdown. Mark says, I believe that Omar Barada appreciated what he saw yesterday from the footballing side. Maybe. I mean, we didn't play badly. We didn't play badly. Like, anybody who says we played badly yesterday has just got an agenda. We didn't play badly, but we still lost the game. And at the end of the day, all that matters is that you win games of football, how you do it. Malk says, I've got a bad feeling it'll be a cricket score for the Chelsea game. They're finally on the rise. You know what, mate? I actually have a feeling that we'll beat Chelsea and then the mood will change again. Somebody says, forget about the compensation fee. The fact is he has to go. The thing is, right, you're one of those people who's kind of just not listened to the last 10 minutes of the show, right? I don't disagree with you. But the fact of the matter is, Ineos clearly aren't willing to part with their money to sack him. Otherwise, they would have sacked him. Would any football club, a competent football club, the biggest football club in the world we are, or one of the biggest, would they allow their team to be 14th in the league? Would they? I think the answer is no. But Ineos clearly are willing to allow it. So it's easy for us to say, I don't care about the compensation fee. Well, it's not mine or your money, is it? Jim Ratcliffe's probably sat there on his yacht saying, speaking to Omar Barada, speaking to his financial advisors, he sat there and they're saying, so if you want to sack Ten Hag and all of his staff, it's going to cost you about 35 million. And if you want to bring in Javi or you want to bring in Inzaghi, I mean, if you want to go and get Inzaghi, right, you'd not only have to pay Inter Milan a massive release clause, you then have to pay all of his staff. Like, it could be, honestly, 50 million, 60, it would be an absolutely obscene amount of money, right? And the Glazers would have done it. But the point of the matter, or the fact of the matter is, the Glazers would have done it, not with their own money. They would have borrowed the money from a bank. And maybe some of you want that, but you can't, in the same conversation, complain that Man United are in debt and all the rest of it, but then be like, oh, sack the manager, I don't care anymore, get the money from wherever, borrow the money. Like, you can't have both. And Ineos clearly aren't willing to part ways with their money, their own personal money, because they're not going to borrow money, to sack him. And that's the fact of the matter, whether people like it or not. You know, you can have all these different opinions on whether the football was good, whether he's done this good, blah, blah, blah. But put all of that aside, forget about that. Just look at it from the perspective of, will Manchester United sack Erik Ten Hag? Clearly not at the moment. We're sat, 24th in the Europa League group? We're 14th in the Premier League. So, yeah. Mainly for Golden Boy says, what are your thoughts on that image of Javi's son wearing the Manchester United shirt? Do you think it's a coincidence? I mean, it's a pretty weird coincidence, I think, to, half an hour after Manchester United lose the game, Javi's wife puts up a picture of her son wearing a Manchester United shirt. Now, it might just be her engagement farming. It might just be her trying to, get her name in the press. We don't know, do we? That is a strong option that his wife might just be like fishing for a bit of publicity. But at the same time, maybe not. At the end of the day, we are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and young people, whether they're Javi's son or whatever, like Manchester United, just because of what it means, what it symbolises. So I don't know. It could mean anything, couldn't it? Mainly for Golden Boy saying apparently she deleted it as well. Fair enough. I mean, I'll be honest with you now, right? Let's try and take this conversation in a different direction now, okay? I've given my thoughts on why they haven't sacked him, right? Let's try and look at the reality here. Would I take Javi till the end of the season? I think I probably would now. I would. And there's all these people who always come at me and say, like, you love Erik Ten Hag and all the rest of it. And it's like, I think a lot of the time people don't listen to what I say just because I'm not screaming at the camera saying Erik Ten Hag should be sacked, he's a bold fraud, whatever some other people say. Just because I don't do that and I try and give a leveled answer with a bit of analysis, with a bit of, level-headedness, people seem to kind of forget what I'm actually trying to say. Do I think Erik Ten Hag is the right man to take Manchester United forward? No, I don't think he is anymore, right? I'll agree with that. But it's just working out who the right person is. That's the hardest part for me. But at this point now, I probably would take Javi until the end of the season. I don't want Ruud van Nistelrooy to the end of the season. I think it's pointless. I think it's absolutely pointless. But I wouldn't give Javi like a 5-year contract. I would give him till the end of the year. I would give him till the end of the year, see how he gets on, see if we see a reaction from the players. Then in the summer, I would be absolutely chopping this squad up. I would be getting rid of loads of these people. I'd be getting rid of people like Bruno. I'd be getting rid of Rashford, probably Casemiro. I'd be definitely getting a new right back and a left back. I'd be getting another striker. I'd be getting another winger. Like, it's not just about the manager, it's about the squad as well. Remember, in my opinion, we're 2 or 3 transfer windows away from being in a position to compete. There's still so many gaps in this squad. When you look at the team that started yesterday, Eriksen will be gone in the summer. Casemiro will be gone in the summer. Obviously, Maguire's going to go. His contract's up. There's a large list of players who will leave this summer, and we are still very much in a transition. But whether Javi is the right person to take Manchester United back to where we were before, I'm not fully convinced. But yeah. Daniel says, I don't think Javi will take the job. He can't deal with boardroom management. They will sack Erik Ten Hag by Christmas, and Ruud will be the manager till the summer. It doesn't excite me. I'm sorry. Obviously, you might be right. That just doesn't excite me. It really doesn't. Ant says, Ineos have stated that they will set our playing style and system and recruit to suit. What is our playing style? Yeah, I don't know, mate. Somebody else says, our financial problems aren't helped by giving Bruno Fernandes 350k a week. Why the hell did they do that? I would agree. 100%. 350k a week. After our worst season, finished 8th last year, and Bruno was terrible throughout the whole season. And they think, you know what? Do you know what's a good idea? Let's give them 300. Oh, it's just frustrating. I'm going to wrap the video up here. It's a Monday morning. Let's try and have a good week. We've got another game of football on Wednesday. Obviously, is it Leicester in the league? Is it the League Cup or the FA Cup? I think it's the League Cup, isn't it? Do you know what's funny, though? I still wouldn't be surprised if we win a trophy this season, if we win the League Cup or something, papers over the cracks, doesn't it? Yeah, we play Leicester City in the League Cup on Wednesday. Is that the round of 32? Let's have a look. Yeah, the round of 16. So we'd be in the quarterfinal. Who's even left in there? Yeah, I mean, Tottenham play Man City. Newcastle play Chelsea. So Brighton play Liverpool. So a lot of the better teams will be going out in this round of the League Cup. So, yeah, it's probably our most likely opportunity to win a trophy, isn't it? So, yeah. Anyway, I don't think he's going to be sacked, to be honest. I know that that's what people want, most people. I honestly don't think it's going to happen, though, to be honest. I really don't. I've explained why. I've given you the reasons. I've given you the finances. Ineos clearly don't want to part with their money to sack him. And I think it's as simple as that, to be honest. So, yeah. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I'll be back tomorrow for another video. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Make sure you get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the managerial situation. I will read through all of the comments, so make sure you go and do that. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye for now.